After the match, when I came to the room, my eyes just went straight to my red flags, my red water flags. I was just admiring the red color, and straight up, my eyes went to the inscription written on the flags. And what is written there is, very good cup. Take a look at it. It's written, very good cup. And when I saw that, I actually smiled. And what that means is, Chelsea is gradually becoming a red card FC. And if this is what it's turning to, we are seeing red and we end up winning the game, then I welcome it personally. Because it actually shows that Enzo Maresca can now win matches when Chelsea are down to 10 men with a red card. But it's not something that is encouraging, rather, because it's actually called for concern. Why it called for concern is Chelsea have seen red in the last 5 matches. Except for the red card that Enzo Maresca himself actually got in the match against Chelsea versus Liverpool at Stamford Bridge, when Enzo Maresca left his touchline position to actually go and celebrate after that last-minute goal by Gustavo William against Liverpool that actually gave Chelsea the win before the international break. So, truly it calls for concern that at the players' discipline level at this point in time needs to be checked. We played against Manchester United. Robert Sanchez was shown a red card. We played against Brighton at the bridge. Trevoh Chalobah was shown a red card. We played against Benfica in the Champions League. João Pedro was shown a red card. We played against Liverpool. Enzo Maresca was shown a red card. And today, against Nottingham Forest, Malo Gusto got a red card. Indeed, it truly called for concern, and it's not something the manager should take lightly. It should actually work on the discipline level of the players to avoid such, because we might actually meet a very hungry and good attacking side. Even with 3 minutes left to play, they will pressurize us and actually get that goals. We have not gone 3 goals up. You can't tell the level of pressure that Nottingham Forest will actually poured on Chelsea. But then, it was good to see that Chelsea went to the City Ground to defeat Nottingham Forest by 3-0. When I saw the selection of that particular encounter, the lineup that Enzo Maresca set up for this particular game, I was scared. It really called for concern. Looking at the selection, in goal was Robert Sanchez, the fullback was Josh Atuompong and Trevoh Chalobah. I have no issue with that. The fullback was Reece James at the right back and Marco Cucurella at the left back. Currently, the 2 best defenders Chelsea is having, the fullback, talking about the fullback. And in the middle, the 2 pivots was Malo Gusto and Romeo Lavia, while the attacking midfield through. In the left was Alejandro Garnacho. The central attacking midfield was Andre Santos. The right wing was Pedro Neto, and up front was João Pedro. When Chelsea started the game, you're playing a side that have actually come out to sit deep, because Nottingham Forest was set up in a 5-3-2 formation. They have about 7 defenders, 7 defensive-minded players in the team, and Enzo Maresca wanted to approach the game the same like way Nottingham Forest have actually approached the game with Ange Postecoglou in charge. When I look at the setup, the doubt I actually got when I saw the selection in that first half was never wrong, because it actually showed in the game. In the first half of that game, if there is any word like that I want to use, Chelsea football was empty. In the first half of that game, we were empty. We had no direction, no coordination. Our play was without focus. The defense line of Trevoh Chalobah, mistake passes. Romeo Lavia, full of mistakes. Today, Romeo Lavia was not just at its best. Romeo Lavia was not just at its best. There was no cutting edge in the final third, no creativity, nobody to actually get the ball across to João Pedro. João Pedro was just up front there with nothing, no passes, no support, nothing good actually came. Nothing good. In terms of the passes, actually went towards the direction of João Pedro. After 30 minutes of play, Nottingham Forest have had 3 attempts at goal with no shot on target, and Chelsea as at that time, we're not having any attempts at goal and no shot on target. After 30 minutes in the first half of that particular encounter, it was after that time Chelsea began to show some glimpse of a tactical threat in the final third, when Chelsea actually had a free kick close to the edge of Nottingham Forest, and Reece James stepped forward to take that strike. That was Chelsea's first shot, and that was the only attempt on goal that Chelsea got after 30 minutes. Minutes later, it was Pedro Neto from the right wing where he was actually operating from with a powerful strike and still was saved by the Nottingham Forest goalkeeper. I think one man I must actually give credit to in the first half of that particular game has to be Pedro Neto. Pedro Neto actually out of nothing was creating chances for himself, but nothing was being connected to Joao Pedro. I mean, Joao Pedro have shown time and again that he's better off in that number 10 position if we don't have Cole Palmer in the middle of the pack. You can't have a team that is playing 5-man defense, talking about the Nottingham Forest side, and you are putting Pedro Neto, you are putting Joao Pedro up front to play there without support. You can only do such when we have Cole Palmer or Enzo Fernandez in the game. There was no Enzo Fernandez, there was no Cole Palmer, there was no Moses Caicedo. And you actually put Joao Pedro up front to play against a five defensive-minded Nottingham Forest at the back. Nottingham Forest in the first half actually pushed up a little bit of threat in that particular game. They had some couple of threats going forward, and I must say kudos to Robert Sanchez when he was called into the game by a powerful header from Milenkovic. Robert Sanchez was quick to respond with a very strong right hand on the ground and actually saved that powerful header from Nottingham Forest corner. And that was how Robert Sanchez saved that ball, and Chelsea did not concede from that corner kick. The first half was truly really empty for Chelsea. There was no creativity, no cutting edge in that particular game, and Chelsea was just roaming with no direction. And that was how the first half in that particular game ended 0-0. So early in the second half in the game, the manager actually made 3 changes. They brought on Jimmy Gittins, Moses Caicedo, and McHugh, taking off Andre Santos, Romeo Lavia, and Alejandro Garnacho. And Chelsea game came alive. We begin to see Chelsea in that typical high-pressing game with the fullback evolving. And that was what we saw in that particular game when Chelsea made that changes. And in the 49th minute, because after that changes, there was actually a change in position. And this time around, Pedro Neto operating from the left side of the pitch when Jimmy Gittins actually came in. So, in the 49th minute, Pedro Neto, that have been much in the game, swing in a powerful cross from the left, and the young defender, talking about Josh Atuompong, actually got a powerful header into the Nottingham Forest net. And that was how Chelsea took the lead in the 49th minute. Josh Atuompong gave Chelsea the lead, scoring his first professional career goal, and that was good to see for the 19-year-old player. So Chelsea hold on possession from then, continue to press Nottingham Forest, hold possession of the game. Begin to dictate play in that particular game. We could see the presence of Moses Caicedo in that particular game. Even though Andre Santos and Romeo Lavia was taken off, because I was shocked by that particular substitution. But I still know that with Moses Caicedo in the game, Reece James and Malo Gusto will still be evolving, playing as a pivot alongside Moses Caicedo. And that was how Chelsea actually played that particular game. It was good to see. 3 minutes later or 4 minutes later, thereabout, Chelsea got a free kick close to the box, the edge of Nottingham Forest box. Reece James and Pedro Neto stood at that point. We were actually thinking whether Reece James would be the one to take the free kick or Pedro Neto. But what they ended up doing was Reece James just made a push of the ball, and Pedro Neto struck it powerfully with his left foot, and into the net straight it went. And Chelsea went up 2-0 in that particular encounter. So Chelsea was in total control of the game at this point in time. And what I begin to saw at that point in time was bits of frustration in the face of Ange Postecoglou. But I begin to wonder if Ange Postecoglou, in the other hand, talking about the Nottingham Forest manager, who have not actually won in 7 games in charge as Nottingham Forest manager, could approach this game with such defensive-minded approach, then how did you intend to actually win the game? And one thing that actually baffles me, which he actually did in his selection, having played with 5 men at the back, 3 midfielders and 2 striker up front, with Awoni leading the top. One will begin to wonder what happened to Chris Wood, one man who was actually very instrumental for Nottingham Forest last season, getting over 20 goals in all competition. Chris Wood was left on the bench, and that is why there's this African adage that says, when a dog is about to die, it actually lost its sense of smelling. What that simply means, with all due respect to Ange Postecoglou, I'm not calling him a dog. What it simply means is, metaphorically speaking, is that when someone is about to enter danger, or when something wrong is about to happen to someone, you actually lost the sense of wisdom that would have saved you from that particular situation. And that is the situation. That is what actually happened to Angel Postecoglou. He actually missed it out when it comes to his selection. In my preview, I actually thought, because Angel Postecoglou like approaching game in a 3-4-3 formation, playing fully well with his wing backs. But in this particular game, probably he paid so much respect to Chelsea. And Chelsea, on the other hand, haven't had some couple of injury problems with players and were not able to start. The likes of Moses Caicedo that didn't start the game, and also Enzo Fernandez that was absent completely from the game. One would have thought that Angel Postecoglou should have taken advantage and see how he can actually pressurize Chelsea in the first half of that particular game. But no, he did what he needed to do as a manager, and that actually didn't pay off. Instead, what happened? It went sour. Immediately after the game, reports have it that Angel Postecoglou has been sacked as Nottingham Forest manager just after 8 games in charge. So the game proceeds, and in the 84th minute, the team captain, a leader, talking about Reece James, scored the 3rd goal in his 200th appearance in Chelsea shirt. That is a legend in the making. It was beautiful to see Reece James placing that ball directly into the net after a loose ball. After a loose ball actually come towards his direction, and with his right foot, he struck that directly into the net, and Chelsea went 3-0 up at the 84th minute. At this point in time, it was as good as saying the game has been won. Chelsea were in total control of the game, and in the 87th minute, Malo Gusto, under no pressure, with a silly tackle, got his 2nd yellow card and was actually sent off with a red card. And that actually means that Malo Gusto will be missing next Chelsea game. But then, like I said earlier in my opening intro, it calls for concern. This red card, Chelsea should learn to be disciplined enough. It seems the indisciplined level in the team is high. We can't be having red card as if it's just something that is easy to come by. And that simply means our indiscipline level is actually high, and the manager needs to work on the players at this point in time. Because you should know when to make such kind of tackles, not when you are under no pressure. You make such, needless tackle and you got a 2nd yellow, knowing fully well that you have already been booked in the game. And that was how Malo Gusto actually saw red in that particular game. And Chelsea went on to defeat Nottingham Forest at the City Ground by 3-0. So, what does that win actually mean? It definitely means that Chelsea have actually got their season back on track. We can still go all out and fight for the title. It's very possible. And that is the point at which we are in now. What we just needed to do is to get that confidence back into the game. And so far, Chelsea have actually got that which they needed back. And what was that thing we needed? That it was just the 3 points. Even in the absence of some key players. But then, the tactical change the manager put up in the 2nd half got the job done. And that is just what we always want to see. That whenever a manager makes changes, or whenever Enzo Maresca makes changes in the game, we need to see the effect play out in that particular game. And that was just happened. First half of that game, we were flat-footed. Nothing actually came out. No pressure, no attack. No creativity, no cutting edge in the final third, and nothing happened. In the 2nd half, we saw a typical Chelsea kind of game, which we normally play. And Chelsea went on to defeat Nottingham Forest by 3-0. And it was just a sad one for Angel Postecoglou, even though, personally, I don't like seeing managers being sacked. If only Nottingham Forest can actually give him that 2nd chance. But then, as a report came in after the game, to me, I've not actually confirmed it, but reports have it that Angel Postecoglou has been sacked as Nottingham Forest manager after just 8 games in charge. That was pretty not good. And reports have it that Angel Postecoglou is the worst manager in Nottingham Forest history after 100 years. It was actually pretty very sad to see. Now, some couple of players were quite outstanding in that particular game. And in the first half, even when Chelsea actually didn't give much, one man was actually outstanding, talking about Pedro Neto. Pedro Neto was actually in that particular game. He shone like a million star. With his pace and energy, it was good to see Pedro Neto. Whenever he's on the ball, be rest assured that he's going to cause it. Something must just happen. There must be a threat coming out from that. And also, Reece James, the team captain. Wow. It was good to see Reece James got a goal in his 200th appearance for Chelsea. And being the team captain, it was actually beautiful to see. Currently and arguably the best right back in football today. So, Reece James, big ups to the team captain. It was actually very good to see. Josh Atuompong getting a goal. Getting the first goal in that particular game. Scoring his first professional career goal after 11 years as a Chelsea boy. Man, it was wonderful to see. See how Josh Atuompong is growing in confidence every day on the pitch. All what Josh Atuompong needs at this point in time is just a playing time. Give him that playing time. Play at the centre back and playing at that centre back gradually is becoming one of his best positions. Even though originally he's a right back player, but then couple of matches now, he has partnered in the last match before the international break. He partnered Benoit Badiachile, and in this particular game against Nottingham Forest, we saw his partnership with Trevor Chalobah. It was wonderful. The young lad is actually getting it right. Big ups to him. He should continue in that direction. The substitute that came in, talking about Moses Caicedo, Jimmy Gittins, and also Gustavo William. They added flair into the game. It was good to see. Generally, the team performance in the second half was top-notch, and that was how Chelsea went on to defeat Nottingham Forest by 3-0. And Pedro Neto and Reece James definitely put up a star, a man of the match performance in that particular game. Reece James got a goal and assist, while Pedro Neto also got a goal and assist to his name. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel.